Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about 3D printing. It's a fun Friday. I thought I would show you one of my hobbies, which, as you will see, even though it was 3D printing, I didn't stray very far from gaming. Now, you saw some of these already in my cabinet, so if you watch the videos, which I'll link below where I go through everything in these cabinets, you've already seen a few of them. But I dug up all of them because I wanted to show what I did when a few years ago for Christmas, Robert got me a 3D printer. And I'd always wanted to play around with it. I wanted to see how they worked. So the first thing I did when I got it is I set it up, strung in some, and this is according to my notes, I wrote it down, blue filament, and I ran a test print. And let me just tell you, it was really loud. It's making something called a test spiral. Estimated completion. I hope that's 2 minutes, but it might be 2 hours. Yeah, that's enough of that. So the first thing I wanted to make, after it did the little test spiral, I said, I want to make a Nuka-Cola bottle cap. And this is how it started. Attempt 2 is a Nuka-Cola bottle cap. And then an hour later, this is how it ended. And this is how it turned out, which I think is pretty cool. I'm like, great, I have my own Nuka-Cola bottle cap now. The next thing I wanted to make was a Lego. I really like Legos, and I had this desk set of metal Legos, so I thought I'd print a Lego of the same size, and I did that. Then, because I love Star Trek, I thought I would make a comm badge, and I was having trouble finding the TNG comm badge, but I did find the Star Trek Voyager comm badge, so I printed that. At this point, I'm like, okay, I've made fun stuff. Let's make something useful. And at the time, I think I had an iPhone X, and you could throw it on a little like wireless charging pad. So I wanted to make a stand where I could put the charging pad in it, and then I could just lean my phone against it rather than set my phone down. That way I could still see my phone. So I printed up this. And despite the fact that I didn't change the scale, and it was marked as being an iPhone X charging stand, it didn't fit. Nothing fit. I debated playing with the scale, but instead I'm like, let's go back to toys. So the next thing I did is I really was getting into some Fallout models. I found looking up the bottle cap led me down the rabbit hole of Fallout stuff. So I made a Fallout vault door. They said it could be used as a coaster. It really can't be used as a coaster. It's really just a decorative prop. But after I did the vault door, I did my longest print yet, and I made myself a vault boy, and I thought that was really cool. And I was looking at other online models, but then I thought, wait a minute, we were right in the middle of making the Outer Worlds, and I had all the models from the game to choose from. So of course, I had to print a Sisty Pig. And here it is. Now it comes out, I wasn't, I'm taking these pictures before I had cleaned up there's, I forget what it's called. It's got bits and pieces left on it. So some of these still look a little rough. But I printed the Sisty Pig, and it took a long time, but it came out really well. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I think I want to give the Nuka-Cola bottle cap away, so I'll print another one. And I was printing one, and it almost got to the end, and I ran out of the blue filament. So I put in the other roll I had. I only had 2 rolls, and it was, I think it's green. I wrote down green. This doesn't look green to me. And I finished printing it out, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So it printed out pretty much the whole bottle cap in blue and just the top, the embossing on the top in green. I thought that looked really cool. And then because I had green filament, I'm like, well, I have to make Pickle Rick. I've got to make Pickle Rick. I had just seen that on TV, so I made a Pickle Rick. Pickle Rick sat on my desk at Obsidian probably until we shipped Outer Worlds. I don't know why. Then I decided, okay, let's go back to Outer Worlds because there's so many models to choose from. So I grabbed a fairly big one And this took a long time. I think this one took 19 hours to print. It was an assault trooper from the game. And it came out really good. And I liked it. And so then I'm like, well, let's see if I can do a weapon. And I asked one of the artists for a science weapon model. And they gave me the Needler. And I printed that out. And that turned out really good. So then I'm like, you know what I really want is the player ship. The Unreliable. I printed it. And it didn't come out. This is one of the prints. I actually printed it twice. I did it once horizontally and once vertically. Both of them didn't come out very well. The honeycomb, it doesn't make a solid print. It uses kind of a honeycomb, so it's structurally solid, but it's not. It doesn't use as much filament. It broke through the outer shell of the ship, and you could see it. So I was like, I don't know, and I don't know why. It's nothing I could do. I scaled it, I rotated it. It didn't matter how I printed it. It kind of busted through. The next thing I made, because I still had a ton of filament, I grabbed the model for an automechanical. I wanted the flying drone automechanical, and I did this, and it came out really good. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I think I've got a handle on this. And then the printer broke. And it took me a long time to Google it. It turns out it was a well-known problem with an unseated motherboard, but I needed a hot solder gun, and I didn't have one. And then I moved up here, so it's still in the box. I haven't used it since I moved, but I still have filament left over, and I keep thinking, I'm going to solder that thing and get it working again, grab some online models, and start printing again. Anyway, I thought it'd be a short, fun Friday to share that and let you guys see some of the stuff I printed and a closer look at what you've seen in these cabinets. Anyway, have a good Friday.